Give me a second. It'll work. Give me a second. Oh, there it is. I could hear the lag. It's so funny. When it uploads, I go, give me a second.
Sure.
And it's so weird to hear your own self. It's like, give me a second. Weird. Okay. Hey, welcome everyone to Sharing the Magic podcast. We are a what?
Record.
Oh, I gotta hit record too. See, I'm already doing things wrong.
Nope, I'm here to help.
So I can't. I'm live streaming. So you gotta hit
so
record.
I have to hit record.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So we are here recording in progress. I don't know if you viewers can hear this, but hey, we're gonna have a great podcast tonight. This is wonderful. This is great it's good. How are y'all doing tonight?
Fantastic.
Good. Okay. I guess I'll say welcome everyone to Sharing the Magic podcast, where we are a big old vault of stories that shape our lives, that make us better people, God forbid, but I think that's kind of the truth. And all the stories we hear from anybody and everybody associated with Disney. Barry used to say this: we're about stories. We are about the stories behind the stories, and the stories behind the stories behind the stories, and that's who we are. And so, welcome to all of our listeners. And tonight, before I introduce our guest, we have Lisa. Lisa, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm great from sunny Orlando. Super excited to be here and hear about all things vintage Disney.
Wonderful. Venerina, who's been working so hard on this podcast to get us up to date. Venerina, how are you doing?
Yeah.
I think that's a good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Now I can.
Oh, there you are.
Sorry. No, I'm doing great. I'm joining in from sunny Florida today, except we had a little bit of rain, but other than that, pretty good weather.
All
Not
right.
like last week.
Okay. Ashley?
I'm also from.
How's Stitch? How's Stitch behind you?
I would say he's great, even though I wish I was on the boat. But I'm also from sunny Florida. I'm right behind the Magic Kingdom, where it is currently pouring.
Oh, all right.
Bummer.
Jared, my man. Thank you for being here. Jared, you're muted. No dead air. Gosh, I'll just fill in any dead space. I'll just fill in with
We
voices.
can't hear us.
Oh,
No.
Oh, there you are.
How about now?
There you go.
Yes.
Okay. Glad to be here. Sorry, technical difficulties.
It's all right.
But yeah, we're already having fun. We've already heard so many stories, so I can't wait to hear what else we hear.
All right. Sarah.
Hey, Greg. Hey, all. So excited to be here. I am coming in from Philadelphia. I might be the only person in Philadelphia not watching one of many sports things happening right now, but I'm excited to hear a little bit more about the memories that you help keep, Greg. And welcome to the podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And well said. So, Greg, the way we kind of start things out with what made you fall in love with Disney, talk about yourself. Tell us who you are. We know who you are, and we've just talked with you for probably about an hour, but for those, pretend you're a brand new listener, and who are you, and why, what made you fall in love with Disney?
It's funny. My name is Gregg Ziak. I've been a Disney fan or enthusiast, or several of my friends call me a fanatic, zealot, however you want to put it. But I've had a love for Disney since 1959. I was born in 54, so from the tender age of 6 years old, I started to get into Disneyland. And for me, my mom and dad, we lived in a little community called Inglewood. Oh, and by the way, I live in Mission Viejo, California, about 15 miles from Disneyland. So my mom and dad, we lived in a farm community back then, and it was not much to do in Inglewood back in the 50s. So my dad, he saw that this guy, Walt Disney, had just opened up a theme park in Anaheim and said, "Hey, let's start going down there for, on the weekends." So we from our house in Inglewood to Anaheim, because it was just dirt roads as far as the eye can see, with lots of farmland and such. We'd have to drive down these dirt roads till we finally came up onto the 5 freeway, and then from the 5 freeway we'd make it to Disneyland, get off on Harbor Boulevard. But from our house to do that trek was like a 2-hour one-way trip. And my dad really loved Disney long before I was even born. Uh, he liked to sketch pictures of Disney characters when he was growing up. He would take his cartoon pictures and blow them up to large, like 11 by 17 or larger pictures. My dad, butcher by trade, but he could play the violin, he could play the cello, he was an incredible artist, but at the same time too, he's butchering animals. So, yeah, two ends of a stick.
Yeah.
But for my dad, he once Disneyland opened, he decided to start taking us down there. And I come from a family of 3 sisters and 1 brother. At the time, there was just 3 of us. I had 2 sisters, 1 older and 1 younger, and me. And we would go into our parents' bedroom on Saturday morning and get them to, come on, let's go to Disneyland. And so my dad, okay, throw everyone into the back of the station wagon, and off we went. And we'd go there more times than I'd care to say on a given Saturday. And during the summer months, my birthday happens to fall in August. So on my birthday, my mom and dad would say, "Where do you want to go on your birthday weekend?" I'd say Disneyland. So we'd go to Disney. They'd book a hotel stay at the Disneyland Hotel. This is before the towers even existed. This is when it was the bungalows, the small units. And we'd stay in there for the weekend and then go home on Sunday, and the whole weekend at Disneyland. And from that, because we were going so frequently, I just developed a very strong affection for Disney.
Yeah.
And when my parents decided to move out of Inglewood, it was due to the Watts riots. We moved to Palos Verdes. I met my best friend. He's been my childhood best friend since 1966. And Steve Laser is his name. And when I met him, I found that he had a big Disney collection of what you could possibly think was big back then, back in the 60s. And I go, wow, this is really cool. Yeah, I had a love for Disney, but not to the level that Steve did. And through my association with Steve, he got me turned on to how to write letters, to Disney, to get things from them that you would have otherwise not been able to find in the store anywhere.
Absolutely. And that's sort of why I think if I was a brand new listener on this podcast and I'm like, who's Gregg? Okay, the first introduction I would say is he's got a massive collection. Great, loves collecting. If you are a collector of Disney, follow him on Facebook and look him up. And I'm a collector, and I love collecting pop culture. I feel bad. I feel dirty every time I say this. I collect action figures.
Hey,
I love
that. Kenner.
Thank you. Thank you. Just relieve my guilt and shame. But even Disney, I love collecting Disney things as well. And you are a master. Your passion is collecting, and so all for our listeners, stick around, listen to this podcast.
Do you have a Kenner figure of Star Wars, Star Trek? Did you?
No, not Star Trek. No, but I have tons of. I could show you my garage. It's
What I
it's
was going to say
shameful.
was,
I have pegboard that aligns my walls, and all my action figures just go up. And it's every pop culture, everything. It's everything from a lot of 80s pop culture, Back to the Future, everything. But then I have a whole, I build dioramas. There's dioramas, and I'll put my Ninja Turtles there. And I'm like, why am I doing this? But I don't, but it makes me feel good, you know?
Oh yeah, this, as we talked about before the podcast started, what you see behind me is not even the tip of the iceberg. I mean, my collection is really, really big. I mean, it occupies several rooms in my house, as well as a storage facility out in my backyard, as well as my garage. I mean,
That's awesome.
yeah. I mean, I just inherited because my best friend no longer had the love and passion for Disney anymore.
Yeah.
He had a recent death in his family, and he said, "I'm done. I'm done with this stuff. Do you want my collection?" And this is the guy who got me started with all this. And I said, "Sure, Steve." So I went over to his house. He dropped off 38 big storage boxes, said, "Here you go. Here's my collection." I'm still going through it right now. And I picked this up almost a year ago, and I'm still going through it, trying to document what it is that he had that now it's part of my collection. It's just, it's,
That could be a whole other podcast. You could do a whole podcast just like this
yeah.
of just unboxing things like, what is this?
Oh.
And we would all tune in. I feel success in your future.
I mean, I had a box. I can't find it at the moment. You gotta know how cluttered this room is, but I have a box from Farrah Rose, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with if with her. She was a really big Disney animator back when Hercules and Fantasia 2000 came out and stuff. And when she left Disney, she said, "Yeah, I don't want this crap anymore. I'm sick of it." So she just kicks all her stuff to the curb. I just happened to be at Disney Studios at the time, and I'm
You're like,
watching,
what a good
and I'm watching
curve.
this lady just throw all this stuff to the trash.
Yeah.
And I went up and said, "Hey, are you throwing this away?" And she goes, "Yeah, I don't want this. I don't want to look at another Disney character ever again." So I said, "Can I have it?" And she goes, "Sure." So I've got in my garage 3 boxes that are like, my hand. These boxes are literally like 6 inches deep they fit like an 11 by 17 image in these boxes.
Wow.
And what it is it's original artwork that she did for Hercules, Pocahontas, for Fantasia 2000, for Disney, cartoon shorts and stuff, all sitting in my garage. I haven't had a chance to go through all of it, but it's just you just have to know what I have in my collection.
I love that. And I would love. I don't know where to go from this.
Yeah.
I think this is where I want to go from this. I kind of want to see some of your stuff, but what I think first is we got Lisa, Venerina, and Ashley, and Jared, and Sarah, and I would love for you all to just take it over. Go ask questions and hand it off, and let's go.
Okay.
I have a question.
Lisa's first.
Go ahead. I'm first. Okay. So, given that you have so many things, and maybe the thing dearest to you, maybe yet to be found, but what is, one thing if you had to pick
you're gonna
one
narrow
thing
me
to
down to one
showcase?
thing.
One of a million. What is
million.
something that is like just irreplaceable? It's got such memory to it that you just find invaluable that could be in a museum someday.
Lisa went for the jugular right then and there, didn't
That's
she?
what I was gonna ask the exact same thing. I was like, 2 great
Oh, sorry.
things think
It's a
alike.
great question,
Ashley.
though.
It's okay.
It's so hard to narrow me down to something like that. I'll put it to you like this. Okay, Lisa. When I was in college, I went to Cal Poly Pomona, and I was to become a landscape architect. I wanted to work to Disney, but for whatever reason at that time, it was just not the right time for me to go to work for Disney. I mean, I worked at Disneyland in the 70s, but to work in Imagineering at the time, as a blooded or full-pledged, Disney Imagineer, it just wasn't the right time. So I have one of my closest friends at the time, he's now since passed away, was Dave Smith, who is the archivist for Disney Studios. Dave Smith was Steve's dad. Steve's father was the dean of journalism for the school of journalism at Cal State Dominguez Hills, and through that association, Dave was one of his students. So, or was one of his students. So he knew that Dave had just been appointed archivist for Disney Studios, and he knew that his son and his son's best friend were big Disney fanatics. So he approached Dave and said, "Hey, would it be cool?" I'm probably not using the exact words by Mr. Laser, who was a scholar and such. I'm just bringing it to the way I talk. But he, in so many words, said, "Hey, would it be cool if you could take my son and his best friend to the studios, just to show them around, show them what you do?" And so Dave said, "Yeah, sure." So Dave, came. I'm 15 years old. I don't drive at this time. So Mr. Laser drives us down to Dave Smith's apartment. He drops us off there and says, "I'll see you guys, later tonight when you guys are all done, and you spend the day with my friend, Dave." So Dave takes us down to the studio, gets us our little blue passes. I still have that blue pass. Here it is. Here it is.
That is a
right there.
very
That is
like Pooh Bear.
That is the pass that Dave gave me so I could get into the studio. So we go into the studio, and Dave's taking us around, and he's taking us into the sound stages, and we're going all through animation. And this is a Saturday, so the only people that are there are people that are just because it's not a business day. It's just if you're working, you're just because you're catching up on something. So we're walking the halls, and Dave said, "Hey, you guys hungry?" And you go, "Yeah, sure." And he said, "Hey, come on, let's go down to the commissary." So we go to the commissary and had lunch down there. And afterwards, Dave says, "I'm taking you through where my office is, but at the same time through the animation studio, through the animation buildings." So we're going through the animation building, and we go into what I thought was a closet. I mean, it was literally a dark, dingy closet, and it's just filled with boxes everywhere, sort of like what I've got behind me. So just boxes everywhere. And Dave goes in there, and he doesn't turn the lights on. It's afternoon. All the light that was coming into this room was coming through the shades of the window. So we're standing there, and Dave says, "Hey, guys, look at this." And he pulls out of one of these boxes this long piece of cardboard. It was like probably about 12 inches wide by about maybe 24 to 36 inches long. Okay, he pulls this long piece of cardboard out, but all I see is the backside of it. So it's cardboard, cardboard. And he takes it and throws it across the room, and you go, "Hey, catch!" And so Steve drops it. I stepped on it, and but I stepped on the cardboard, the backside of this thing. So I bend over, I pick this thing up, and I flip it over, and I go, "Oh my God, I know this. I know this." And Dave's off to the side. He's got this big grin on his face, and I'm going, "Oh my God, this is the opening scene to Pinocchio." I'm looking at the star. I'm looking at the big, all the way down to Geppetto's shop, on this cardboard that I just stepped on, and it was like one of these things where Dave, because he was newly appointed to being the archivist, he didn't handle things quite the same way before he passed away that he did when he was, showing us things around that day.
And
It
this
was literally.
that's amazing. This is what someone in the chat. No, it was Sarah.
Well, here, no,
said,
I gotta get back.
Okay, get it out. But I gotta compliment you afterwards.
Okay. So Lisa, so being Dave not being just being the archivist for Disney Studio. Disney also knew that he had a Disney collection at the time, and so Dave was told by Disney management that how did it look to have the Disney archivist to have his own private Disney collection. So they told him, you need to get rid of this stuff. You need to get rid of your collection because you have the world's largest Disney collection on the planet, so you can't have your own collection. So Dave, while we're at his house, he goes, hey, you want any of this stuff? And I said, well, what do you got for sale? I'm a box boy working at Hughes Market. I'm making barely $1 an hour. If it's expensive, I can't afford it. And he's, oh, don't worry, I'll work with you. Don't worry, everything's cool. And I said, okay. So if you're willing to work for me, what do you got? So first off, he pulls this out.
Here we go. Okay, I got to pin this. Okay. Yeah. All right, everyone shut up.
He pulls this out.
Okay. Speaker.
Okay. And because this was Dave Smith's book, it is signed by the author. It's signed by Bob Thomas. Okay. And I asked Dave, I said, how much you selling for? And he says, for you, Greg, I'll sell you $10. And I went, okay, it's going to take me a little while to come up with $10, but as soon as I have the money, I'll send it to you, and then you can send me the book. I said, okay. Over the years, I have, because having worked with Disney and having done things with Disney, every opportunity that I have, whether I'm at Disney Studios or I'm at Walt Disney Imagineering, or at the time it was Wet Enterprises, I'd bring my books with me, and I'd say, and I go in and see somebody, I say, hi, I'm Gregg Ziak, who are you? And they tell me, and I go, oh, hey, by the way, can you sign my book? Or can you sign these books? And they'd say, sure. So in the book of animation, unfortunately, I don't have Walt Disney because he had already passed away by this time. But I've got Roy Disney's autograph in here. I've got Roy E. Disney's autograph in here. I've got, if you can see on here, I've got Ward Kimball, Bill Justice, and Floyd Norman, Mark Davis, Colin Campbell, Ollie Johnston, Raleigh Crump, Willie Ito, who's it? Eric Goldman, Ken Anderson, Sam McKim. That's just on this page. Okay.
Amazing.
And then over here is Bob Thomas's signature for the author of the book. Okay. And then throughout this book is just, I just caught these guys at the right time. I said, hey, can you sign the book aside from your autograph? So they turned to the pages where their artwork appeared, and they would sign their names next to their artwork. So this book is just loaded. I mean, loaded full of autographs. It would just blow your mind who's in here. Okay. That's one. When I was working at Disneyland, I'd left Disneyland by this time.
Okay.
I had, when the annual pass became available, I started buying into that so I could take my kids to Disneyland and such. And during the 30th anniversary, I went and bought this book. Okay. I'm sure most of us have this book. Okay. But what you don't have, and I do have, is what's inside this book. I've got so many freaking autographs.
That's amazing.
I've got Pecos Bill, Wally Bogue. I've got Betty Taylor. I've got let's see, Brian Jowers, Van France, Dick Nunes, Ward Kimball, John Hench, let's see, Bob Dorsey, Bruce Gordon, Fulton Burley, let's see here, also Ron Dominguez, Jack Lindquist. Let's see here. Then on the next page, I've got some of the Musketeers. I've got oh, you know who Virginia Davis is, don't you? Okay.
No, I don't. Pretend I'm a
Yes.
dummy. No. A lot of this happens all
Oh.
the time on the podcast.
Okay.
And I have to say this. I'm like, pretend I'm stupid.
Okay.
Pretend I'm an 8-year-old.
Okay. Well,
tell me.
Virginia Davis was the original character that Walt Disney put into his first live action animation, where he was talking to this little girl and she'd be like being chased by a lion and stuff. So I met Alice and or Virginia, and I said, "Hey, can you sign my book?" So her signatures, it's little things right up here.
Cool.
And I've got Lonnie Burf, Mouseketeer. I've got who is it? I've got Davy Crockett. Who was that?
Davy Crockett.
What's the actor's name?
Wavy.
Right.
Wavy Crockett. You got that.
I've got him. I've got Bob Gurr.
Yeah, I have surprisingly, I have his autograph too. Someone just mailed it to me. I'm like, why?
I have Don Hahn here.
Yeah.
And then I've got Xavier Atencio, or better known as X, right here.
Who's X?
Awesome.
X. Okay. X is
Jeff.
the Haunted Mansion.
No, wait. No, I'm not trying to be. I'm actually just
He is
stupid.
one of the creators of the original Disneyland Haunted Mansion.
Oh,
So
sorry.
I got him. I got Floyd Norman in here. I've got Bill Farmer signed it right.
Why? Well, yeah.
I got to go over to his house, and I brought a lot of my stuff and said, "Bill, can you sign some of these things for me?" Oh yeah, sure. No problem,
Yeah, he pitches his voice. Oh yeah, of course, no problem. Like he talks in his upper, just like me. I'm like, I talk up here, but there's highs and lows, highs and lows. And it's like I never would expect that voice to come out of that man. But he is such a sweetheart. And yes, the first time I met him,
when I asked him to do all these things for me, oh yeah, no problem. The book I've got.
Here you go.
I've got the Sherman brothers. Robert and I got Richard and Robert Sherman here. I've got Marty Sklar. I've got you name it.
Wow.
This book is loaded full of autographs. With
your book is like our podcast. It's like loaded with people that it's just like, what do you feel gracious? Do you just look at that and feel like, how in the world did I just like all these the stories of and you get to capture a bit of, and collecting is a lot like that. Go ahead.
To getting back to Lisa's original question, because I will go off on tangents, and you guys have got to
I'll rein you in. Don't worry.
The direction you want me to go, because I'll keep talking about.
Don't worry. We got other questions too.
Going back to Lisa's original question, Dave Smith had an autographed picture of Walt Disney, and he said, "I got to get rid of it." He said, "I'll sell it to you for $5." I said, "Okay." So I got that from Dave for $5, and he wrote me a letter about it. So I've got a letter about this picture is going for $5 on his stationery and everything. I still have that to this day. Okay, and then too, aside from the autograph picture and the art of animation, Dave had publicity photographs from the studios. A lot of them that I have to this day. They're hanging on the walls in the other room. I have a collage on the other side of this wall, a collage of my Walt Disney photograph that Walt signed, that was a part of Dave Smith's collection that I got. And I'm also been a Disney stockholder since 1969. I still have a lot of Disney stock to this day. So when they used to let us come to the stockholders meetings all the way up until Michael Eisner dismissed Michael Ovitz and kicked his butt out of the meeting, that's when all the stockholders turned on him, and that's why stockholders are no longer allowed to go to the meetings. Everything is podcasts and such, and thanks to this horrible day at the studios. Oh, I'm
I
sorry,
just
Anna Convention
yeah.
Center. But back to Lisa's thing. Uh, I'll have to say two things out of Dave Smith's collection that are dearest to my heart because who they came from. Okay. One, it's got Walt's signature on it, but they were both out of Dave Smith's collection. Is my autograph of Walt Disney. And then I've got an original song sheet from not dated 1930. It's Minnie's Yoo-Hoo. And I may have it sitting out. I put a lot of stuff out, out here in case I was to cycle through to show you guys.
And Greg, if you're okay, I'm gonna let Sarah, because
Yeah.
I saw her face just light up like a candle, and I'm gonna let her.
Okay, but those are my two, Lisa.
Yeah,
those are two.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
But okay, all right, and then let's go to, I don't know. I'll figure it out as we go. But Sarah, you lit up when he said that. Why?
I mean, I am in awe of all of this. I mean, you keep pulling out books and pieces of artifact, and I'm like, this is like the who's who of Walt Disney and this career. But I've also heard, and I'm sure you've been asked this a couple times, Greg. So I am a faculty member and I'm a researcher, and I like researching nostalgia and joy and all those things that, like, sharing the magic, as Jeff has so beautifully put tonight,
Okay, you know
does.
Becky Klein, right? You know Becky Klein?
Beautiful.
I'm curious, you talked about you were what, 5 years old when you fell in love with Disney. I heard though, you were still pretty young and you took some pretty famous photos that had a huge impact on a family, but also kind of created this archive of beautiful work, and history, much like what you're sharing with us right now. And Minnie has a special place in my heart, so my face was reacting that way because she's my girl. But I'm curious, you mentioned quite a few other people like Rolly Crump, with it. Could you share a little bit with us about these famous photos and, just how it ended up connecting back to this family and the legacy that you helped carry on a little bit more?
It's just being at the right place at the right time for me. I have a very close friend whose name is Louis Garcia. I don't know if many of you know him, but he is a big Disney collector and seller also. And thanks to Louis, he's also introduced me to people that I would have otherwise never had met. But through Louis, Louis would put together this thing called Disney Fun Fairs, like every 3 or 4 times a year, and he knew more Disney people than I could ever imagine. And he'd call them up and say, "Hey, would you like to come down and participate?" And Louis would pay him a substantial amount of money just to be there. And they'd say, "Sure, Louis." And after time, they became very close friends. And for me, I was into video, my video camera was a VHS, a video camera, you hold it on your shoulder kind of thing. And Lou would say, you're assigned to this guy, and you follow him around all day during the show and just videotape him. And I said, oh, okay. So I got to meet a lot of people that way. And I got to meet Sam McKim, and I met Don Dorsey, and I met Mark Davis, and I met, just the list goes on and on and on. I mean, I just met so many people thanks to Louis that later on became very close friends of mine, and one of which I'll just throw this out, Sam McKim, and we all know who Sam McKim. He's did all the Disneyland maps. He's responsible for the Haunted Mansion original sketches and such. Well, Sam at the time was going through some health issues, and he had already retired from Disney, from WED. Wasn't Walt Disney Imagineering yet. It was still WED. He had retired, and they gave him a retirement ring. This big old gold Mickey, ring. And Sam, when he lost all this weight, Sam's passion, when he wasn't working on some artwork or whatever, he loved to go fishing. And he and his sons, Brian and Matt, would go out with their dad, and they'd get out on the family, like little, it wasn't a speedboat, but it was just like a fishing boat. And they'd take it out to the harbor, and they'd go, fish. They'd go saltwater fishing. And what Sam would do is he would make these anchors that he would anchor his boat in place while it was in the harbor, and he made his anchors out of coffee cans. So the coffee cans, he'd fill them up with cement, put a chain to it, and then he'd throw those overboard, and he'd keep his boat stationary, and then he'd go fishing with his sons. So on one of these nights of making one of these coffee cans of those anchors, Sam had his retirement ring on one time, and then it was gone. So I've known Tony Baxter since the 70s. He was a good friend of mine. He's more selective on who he wants to talk to these days, and didn't want to discount that. He's just now in order to see Tony, you have to like pay him to see him. But back in the day, I was really good friends with Tony, and uh, we wanted to do something special for Sam. So what we did was uh, we took a coffee can, filled it up with foam. But before we filled it up with this foam, we went to management over at Walt Disney Imagineering, and we talked to some of Sam's former people, the management that he worked for, and said, "Look, Sam's lost his ring, his retirement ring. Is there any way you can replace it?" So through Tony Baxter's help, we got this ring replaced. And what we did is we took the ring, put it in this little plastic ring holder that any jewelry store would give you, and we took the container and we put it in a coffee can and filled it up with foam. Okay, and then Tony painted it to make it look gray, so it looked like cement. And then we cut this thing in half so it was going to be easy to open. So we went to a presentation at Louis' Disney Fun Fair, and we were going to present this to Sam. So Sam didn't know anything about this, and to do this, I had to go over to Sam's house for many weekends in a row because I was making a video of how we were going to, how this ring got lost. So I was interviewing Matt McKim and his brother Brian and Brian's wife Dorothy, and Brian and Dorothy and Brian have a son named Sam as well. And it was just a whole family event. So I'm videotaping like how Dad lost his ring, and got it all on video. So at this Disney Fun Fair event, we said we've got something special to present to Sam McKim. Would he please come to the stage? So Sam's out in the audience. He comes up to the stage, and Tony Baxter's like way in the back of the room, and we had this all staged. We had to rehearse this thing for many weeks, so we had this thing down. So the way it went down was that we had heard that Sam, you lost your retirement ring. We think it's in one of your coffee can anchors for your boat, And Sam's like sitting off to the side, going, "Nah, I don't know, maybe, I don't know." So we said, "Well, we think it's in one of these cans." So we pulled this can out and we said, "Hey, Tony, can you come up to the front and help us open this thing up?" So Tony Baxter comes up to the front, and Tony goes through the stages of like sawing this can in half, which it's already been cut in half, but he's making the motions of sawing it in half, and we open it up, and out pops this ring, and we present it to Sam, and I kid you not, I mean, it was a very emotional moment, and to see him appreciate what we did for him, and the video that we presented to him too was kind of beyond words. It was something special. That from that day forward, I'll tell you, Sam became one of my closest friends. And when he passed away, I was talking to his son Matt, and Disney was approaching the family like, we're going to do a window for your dad, down Main Street, but we don't know what to do because your dad was involved in everything. So, I heard about it when Matt had told me about what they were going to do, and they were all having a hard time trying to figure out what do we put on the window. And I said, well, gosh, God, your dad did all the Disneyland maps. I mean, make the window. He is the cartographer of Disney, of Disneyland. He's responsible for the Disneyland map. And so Matt submitted my suggestion to the studio, and his window was designed after my suggestion of cartographer. So if you ever want to see Sam McKim's window, it's right next to the First Aid, the street that goes up to First Aid. It's right on the corner where Coke Corner, across the street from Coke Corner. It's where the windows are. But if you look up, it's on the side of that street, and it says cartographer for the worlds. And because Sam did all the maps for not just Disneyland, but for Walt Disney World, and he helped Nina Ray Vaughn design the Euro Disneyland. It was Euro Disneyland at one time, then it became. I'm sorry, it was Euro Disneyland, then it became Disneyland Paris. She and Sam made those maps, as well as the Walt Disney World, and I've been to Matt and I've been to Sam's house so many times I've lost count. And there was one time where I was at his house and he had just finished a Walt Disney World map that says Walt Disney World. It's got a picture of Mickey Mouse's head. Looks like a hot air balloon on it. And Sam says, do you want this? And I go, what is it? He says, well, it's the master, but he says, I have no need for it. I'm just going to throw it out. Disney doesn't want it. It's just pieced all together with all my little sketches that we used to make the map. And I said, you don't want it? And he goes, no, I'm just going to throw it out. And I said, yeah, well, sure, I'll take it. So Sam gave it to me, and I've got it behind me in a tube. And it's if you look at it, it is the map, but it's pieced together with buff paper and vellum and all different types of cuts. When Sam was getting an idea to add to the map, he would just think of it, sketch it out, then tape it into the place on the map. And that's where So I have that master. I have that master in my collection.
That's amazing, Jared. Do you want to? So
it would
sometimes
take me forever to dig it out of back there because you don't know what's behind me. It's really hard to dig that thing out right now.
You got to come back. You got to come back, and then we'll
dig
just
it
do a
out for you.
podcast of you show me yours, we'll show you ours. It'll be fun, but collections are amazing and part of the stories, part of the vault that we share. But Jared, I saw you kind of, I don't know, thinking.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of the $5 version of the original Magic Kingdom map that I bought in the Polynesian gift shop a few years ago. Pales in comparison. And I do have a Disneyland Hotel ashtray that my in-laws found at an antique shop.
There you go.
But,
are you gonna bust it out?
Well, we're moving, so it's already packed.
I'll pin you.
No, it's already packed up.
Okay.
Because we're moving, so all my cool Disney stuff's put away.
Okay.
But my question is, so
I know. I'm disappointed too, Greg.
I was just going to say all my Disneyland maps that Sam, he's autographed all of them, so they're all back there. I've got one here.
But the next time you come back, Jared is going to he's going to have his collection ready.
Okay.
And he's going to show you.
Yeah.
So my collection is so huge. It's hard to zero in on one thing only unless you give me time to.
You need a librarian. You need somebody to alphabetize it and to.
Well, and not to take time away from Jared, but
no.
When I started collecting Disneyland, I was literally in diapers at the time, And so I never really got a head start on that. So when Walt Disney World was soon to open up, I made a point in getting everything of Walt Disney World, before it opens. So I've got a lot of concept stuff. I've got a lot of things that you just don't see. I mean, and see at Van Eden Gallery's auctions. I got so much stuff sitting behind me that would just blow your socks off. That is of Walt Disney World, of Euro Disneyland, of Shanghai, of Anaheim, you name it, all the Disney theme parks. I've got something from every one of them.
All right, you
Anyway,
Jared and Jared and Greg, geek out. Take like 2 minutes and just geek out and do it, whatever it is. Just go.
So I have a bunch of Disney merch,
Okay.
right? I think a lot of us have what we like, more Disney merch, right, than memorabilia.
Yeah.
So how old does merch have to be, or does merch ever make it into the memorabilia category?
Help me with
That's
with
my
the acronym.
question.
What are we talking about? What's merch?
Merchandise.
Oh, okay.
Like,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So we go on our
Hey,
vacation.
let me
to Disney
facilitate,
World.
y'all. I'll just say, if you kids, for all you kids out there, Jared and Greg, you children who are young whippersnappers, I will explain these things for the new up and coming generation.
Help me out with those acronyms there, Jeff. But go ahead. But Jared,
when does like parks merchandise, right, become memorabilia, right? Because I may have something that you could technically purchase a long time ago, right? So where's that line?
Where the line is that it's popularity, when it was made, who was made by, and how rare is it? Okay, because I've got 48 original attraction posters from all the Disney theme parks throughout the world. And my favorite one that I got was one of my close friends was a guy by the name of Ruben Rodriguez, and he was in charge of the poster department for Walt Disney Imagineering back when it was WED. And any poster that you saw hanging on the wall in all the different theme parks came out of his department. So Jared, I already lost his name again. Well, anyway, he was a big collector of pinup art, and at the time, I used to program a lot. I used to build web pages. So he reached out to me and said, "If you could build me an insane website to sell my pinup art," he says, "I'll pay you anything, for this service." And I said, "You can't afford me, buddy. You'd be way too expensive. You can't afford my billing rate." And he said, "Well, what would you be willing to do for trade?" And I said, "I know you're in charge of the poster department." And he goes, "Yeah." I said, "I would like to have in exchange for my services some posters from you." And so he said, "Okay." So thanks to Ruben increased my poster collection to I've got 48 original attraction posters. I've got the Haunted Mansion. I've got every Haunted Mansion, Mystic Manor. I've got them all. I've got and this is silkscreen. This isn't like print on demand stuff. This is original silkscreen artwork. So I got Haunted Mansion. I've got every Pirates of the Caribbean in every Disney theme park. I've got great one was with Mr. Lincoln. But of all of my posters in the other room, what I've got hanging, I have to treat my walls in my house. This is going back to a story we talked about earlier before we started the podcast. My wife does not like Disney. I don't know why. She just doesn't like it. So I have to restrict what I can put out into just one floor of our house. So if I want to see something new, I have to take something down to replace it. So I've got posters up on the wall that I've taken down and replaced with other posters that I have that share the same colors in the matting and in the wood, the framing and such. So I'm not having to build a whole a whole new frame and matting and everything. And mind you, one of my other best friends had a frame shop. He taught me how to do my own framing. So I save a lot of money that way because some of my frames cost just the material alone close to $2,000 just for the material. And on one of our other podcasts down the road, I'll go into the family room and show you what's hanging in the wall in the
Yes,
family.
and yes, we will. That will be. Contact me. I sent you a friend request on Facebook. You messaged me. We will make a whole other thing, like just for this stuff.
Yeah.
And I'll pin you, and it will be a big, glorious.
And if we on that next podcast, I will just bring out the attraction posters.
Yes.
Or that I have hanging on the wall behind me. You can't really see it. It's like
well, this tonight is about getting to know you.
Back there, you see that N like there?
Yeah.
Okay, that's 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea from Tokyo Disney Sea.
That's pretty. Okay. That's pretty cool.
And behind that is Tokyo Disney Sea's version of the Tower of Terror. I forget.
No, we can't do this tonight.
I'm dying inside here, Jeff. Yeah. I'm dying.
You can't. You can't. I know, but we'll be here for 4 hours, and you know me.
Behind this cabinet here, I've got literally 30 posters, all shrunk wrap on foam core, sitting behind that wall. That's all Disney. I mean, it's all attraction posters. But I've got so many attraction posters that would just blow your mind.
I know. Okay, we can, and I'll stay up till 2 days from now. I don't care.
Yeah,
I love that stuff.
Yeah.
So
Venerina. Hey, I'm sorry.
So going back to Jared's question about the merchandise. Okay,
yeah.
Literally, when I got into collecting, you've heard the term "one person's trash is another one's treasure." Okay, so my parents considered a lot of this stuff just trash. So I was constantly having to salvage my collection from the trash cans that my mom kept throwing my collections into every Tuesday before, I'd go off to school and she'd go in my room and clean what she felt was a cleaner room.
Was that like a mom thing that they just did? Moms
Yeah.
just did during that time? Because I hear stories of that all the time.
She didn't like throw it away and stuff it into the trash can.
Yeah.
She just took it from my collection and just threw it away because she said, Greg is too old for this stuff. This is children's crap. He doesn't need this stuff anymore. So I before I'd go off to school, I'd see what was in the trash can because this is every Tuesday, and I look and I go, "Oh God darn it, Mom! You've thrown another thing away." I'd have to dig it out, and put it back in the collection. And I was salvaging my posters right and left. I mean, it was just driving me nuts with my mom. Yeah. And later on, when my mom finally, thanks to Mike Van Eaton, and had an auction, and I could show my mom, look at this stuff that you were throwing out, you thought was trash. Look what its value is. My mom, I kid you not, she started to cry. She said, I didn't know. I'm so sorry.
And that's why, like, my mom, growing up, my mom, she's like, my mom said, my mom threw away my Batman 1960 something, lunchbox, and it's worth how much these days? Tons. And then my mom never threw. That's why I have a whole garage full of nothing. I could align my entire life with action figures. My mom said, I will not throw that away. And I, to this day, still collect. And I'm not a hoarder. It's not hoarding, but there's a difference between hoarding and collecting. I collect, but I'm not hoarding.
Because my stuff is all it's kind of cluttered, but I know where everything is, and that's the difference.
Yes, I do. I got walls, I got dioramas, and it's storytelling for me. So a lot of why I collect.
No, I got a story behind everything I've ever collected.
And I think that's the beauty behind collecting is it's in this podcast, this is a podcast of collectors. We collect stories, we collect experiences, and in the same exact way. And for me, as like, so if you saw my action figures, I go, no wonder I made this joke earlier. So no wonder I'm divorced, because, but
Well,
I joke.
When I went off to college, my mom took my entire G.I. Joe collection, and I had everything. I had the spacecraft, I had the Jeep,
Oh
I had everything,
no,
and she just gave it all to the Goodwill.
no,
So when I come home, I'm going, Mom, where the hell's all my stuff? She goes,
yeah.
You didn't need it. I just donated it to the Goodwill. I raced down to the Goodwill shop, and some collectors are already been there and have taken it, and it's all gone.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I could have killed my mom. I mean, I've told her several times, you have escaped death so many times, Mom. You just don't seem to understand how close to death you've come from my hands. I mean,
No, these are we say this on the podcast. Stories shape life. Stories shape life, and the stories and why we collect. Why do we collect? Because these are our stories. The stories that have shaped me have been like, we talk about this on the podcast all the time. I talk about it to where I'm so sorry, everyone. I talk about this stuff all the time, but it's true. It's that these stories shape our narratives, and the narrative of the story shapes our lives. And how do I get a little bit of to possess the story, just a little bit, just to feel like I own it. I possess it by collecting. And if it's an action figure, I can move it, I can manipulate it, I can set it on a wall and look at it and just stare and think, how does this some people do it with dolls, some people do it with all kinds of different things. And
my
so
daughters are into Barbie, so they have a huge Barbie collection as well. They learned well from Dad how to preserve their Barbie collections. But same thing.
So why not?
Yeah.
Like I go every Walmart I visit. I'm like, I'm not gonna buy an action figure. I'm not, but I still go in the toy aisle.
Yeah.
Why? Because I'm still 6 years old at heart. Why wouldn't I? So I just want to see what's going on. Not that I'll buy it, but I go, oh, that's cool.
And how relatable. We've all had the mom, or, in my case, maybe I am the mom who throws out the thing on Tuesday. For trash.
Mom,
we got you.
More so, they're going to bed, so I might have a rebellion here as they bust through the door and know my trade secret here in a moment. But how relatable is it that many of us have either been the parent or have lived that story where the things that are meaningful to us may not always be seen in the eyes of others. And our joy is our joy. And I think, Jeff, whether it's action heroes and what the joy you find still and hanging out that lot, or the stories you collect, and I think Greg's perfect as the legacy of even just the stuff that you're pointing out behind you tonight. We've all had that relatable experience of the things that give us joy. And to Jerry, maybe the merch or the merchandise will eventually become memorabilia. Oh my goodness, I can't stop.
And I love it. And Venerina, you need to hop in. So just hop in. It's not turns. It's your turn. It's my turn. Hop in. Just talk.
There's the car that comes in the box.
I'm just in awe. Your collection is absolutely incredible. I'm just sitting back here in awe. Wow.
I shouldn't be handling it this way, but yeah.
So be careful.
Same with you, Jared. Just pop in, man. And at least anyone. This is free game. Come on, everyone. If you got something to ask, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, I do have a question. Do you collect pins?
Pins. I do, but I have to be very selective on that because that can really get away from me. I mean, there's so many pins out there, and I've got to be careful as to which ones I want to collect. I do have some, but the ones I have are, let me see. Yeah, I have some, but these are like pins when the pin craze just started taking off. Those are the kind of pins I collected in the beginning. When it really got out of hand, and when Disney said, we have a limited edition to 200,000, I'm going, that's no limited edition. I mean, come on. It's like that's when I sort of like stepped out one. It's got to be something special to want me to collect one. But when I look at a collectible, I look at the edition size also. And if the edition size is 300 or less, then that's something that interests me. If it's over 300, it's got to be something that really catches my eye. And there are certain things that are a lot of pins, like what you're pulling up, Valerina. I've got a lot of pins that I absolutely love that are just ones that I got at the Emporium, or I got it down at Company D, or I got it at Walt Disney Imagineering's Mickey's of Glendale or wherever. It just caught my eye.
Yeah, that's
But
awesome.
yeah, I do like pins, but
Mhm.
not to the level of what I like as far as like maps. Because
Mhm.
being a landscape architect by trade, I worked a lot with maps. So
Mhm.
I love Disneyland maps. I love all the maps from all the Disney theme parks, that Disney made them for. And I've had them all autographed by the artists that made them.
That's
But
awesome. Yeah, Disney actually just recently released a maps pin set. I'm
I
not
know the
sure if
one.
hmm Yeah,
It's a
I was like,
beautiful.
I'm not even gonna try because I did this flower
Mhm.
and it took a long time. I was like, by the time I complete all the pieces, and I was like, I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, that's another thing too. If it's like a set where uh, the puzzle has multiple parts to it, and if you're missing one, and well, like say 1985 when Disneyland was celebrating their 30th anniversary, every guest got a pin, then every 30th guest got something else, then 300, then 3,000, then 30,000. Once you got to 300,000, you got the car, that kind of thing. But the pins, I've got bags and bags of the pins, but the pin that really made the set was the marching Mickey, which was the hard one to get.
Yeah.
So some of my sets aren't fully complete, but I do have some complete sets with all the pins, and then I have all the knockoffs because Disney got in trouble because some of the pins had sharp edges to them. Apparently, some kid got his eye poked at or whatever. So all the pins that had a sharp edge, like Frontierland, Tomorrowland, what else? Yeah, Frontierland and Tomorrowland were the worst culprits because Tomorrowland had a spaceship on it uh, against a blue background, and the spaceship had a point to it. So they rounded that off and came out with that pin like a second generation. But if you got the complete set of pins for that year for the 30th anniversary, it wasn't just all the different lands, but you had to have all the like the extra ones that they made for these little mistakes. For example, New Orleans Square had 4 different versions of New Orleans Squares for that pin. You had a silver, you had a purple, you had a silver and red. I mean, you had all 4 different versions of that. Frontierland had 2 versions. Tomorrowland had 2 versions. Let's see here. Bear Country had no, that's the only one that had 1 version. But if you have the whole set, it's hard to get the whole set when Disney's coming out with different versions of them, as time goes on. I'm sure you well know.
Venerina is
Yes, I know.
you're a penny person. You love your pins. And I love that you
I
love your pins. I think and it doesn't matter who the guest is. Like Venerina will bring up like, hey, what do you think about the pens? And it's making me care about the pins. I go, well, maybe I love it because I don't collect the pins.
Yeah.
But the fact that that's something like Ven loves, I love that she loves that. And then I think on this podcast to hear those kind of people geek out. Okay, you're winning me over. I might be a pin person at some point, and I
I'll have to
love
send
that.
you. a
She
Disney
already
pin.
got to me.
Oh
She
boy.
already got to me.
All right,
Yeah,
we're
just
gonna have
watch out. Just watch out.
I'm
we're
a
gonna
bad
have a
influence.
we're gonna have a family meeting this week about pins and how it's getting a little bit out of hand.
You know what I heard here
Oh.
though is Jared, the answer to your question is they have to make less than 300 of something for it to move from merch to memorabilia.
That's exactly it. If it's over 300, it's just a mass production, and it's got to have like certain collectors have to have that love for that particular piece. If it's Star Wars related or Marvel's related or things like that, you'll, even though you may have a limited edition set of 200,000, it's still a popular character or theme that will bring the price up just the same. You know, it's hard to put a finger on exactly what's going to be popular or what's going to really take off until I'd go through when I'm looking at collections for sale. I'm going to Potter and Potter. I'm going to Van Eaton Galleries. I'm going to let's see who else.
Yard sales?
Heritage House, yard sales. I'm doing it all. Also antique stores. Because a lot of antique dealers don't know what they have. I've gone in there and picked up things for nothing. Literally, they're going, "Hey, you want this? You buy this too, and I'll throw that one in for free." And I'm like, "Oh, that's the one I really want. I don't care about this other thing you're throwing in for free. Who can? That's going to the trash as far as I'm concerned."
Yeah, I love that. Okay,
So,
hey, let Jared. You are the exact person I was going to turn it over to.
Let me show you one thing here that's been just
Well, let me turn it.
What this is?
That's a key. Jared, you talk.
Do you know what this is?
what is it? I can't see.
I think it's a key.
This is here. Let me take it out of my case. This rarely comes out because I don't like fingerprints on it, but.
Like, it's not just a key, it's a key.
It's a key.
Disneyland?
It's a key.
It's made by Town and Town and Lock, the Main Street shop back in 1955. Walt Disney gave it out to all the licensees at the time that were sponsoring the different attractions and such. Every sponsor got a key. They made a very limited set. I've got one of them.
Oh my God.
Yeah. This is the key to Disneyland.
It's like the key. It's like the key. And every time I hear 1955, it's like Back to the Future. 1955. Like, you have to. But that is such an iconic year, and I know that. I know that is the year of Disney, and that key. That's amazing. That is not just a key. That is like the
key. The key. It is.
That's amazing. That's so cool.
One of these. One more of these.
I've never been starstruck on this podcast before from a key. I have to say.
One more of these pick one questions. What's the one piece you're still trying to find?
Good one.
That is a good one.
Oh.
Good question.
Oh.
That is a good question.
Oh, brother.
Oh. Stump our guest. That's a great.
That's a good. That's a good question.
If I had an applause button, it'd be like, yay!
You've stumped me, Jared. It's like it's kind of hard to sit. I have to be at a Disney show and go, ooh, I like that. I need that, and then I'll see the price tag and go, okay.
But it's not that. It's like, oh, daddy want.
Yeah.
It's that kind of like,
yeah.
it's a silly thing.
Yeah, but it can't always be about price. You have a $5
That's
purchase
what I mean. Yeah.
Walt Disney autographed picture. So, it can't always be just the price, but what's something that you've seen in someone else's collection that you thought, man,
magic wand. You got a magic wand.
I'll put it out there. one of my best friends, Louis Garcia, he has an original Mouseketeer costume from the original Mickey Mouse Club show. It's Annette Funicello's costume. I would love to have that.
Oh, that's it. That's the answer.
That's the one I'd love to have.
What do you think, Jared?
He knows it, and it's like he's Louis Hispanic, and Annette Funicello special for him and his family. So he's like, it's a cold day in hell before he'll ever let go of it. So all I can do is he has it sitting inside of a glass case, and I'm looking at it and I'm going, I would love to have that.
Jared, does that
would your wife love to have the glass case downstairs in the house with it though? I mean,
my wife would like to have my head on a spit. Is that what yeah. No, I bring things home where I seriously have them stashed in my car for weeks until she's gone off to the grocery store and I know she's not coming back for a while, and then I'll bring it into the house and go hide it somewhere, just so I can get it into the house.
Greg, you make me feel normal. And just thank you for that. It's like when I look at my collecting stuff, I go, oh no. But then, honestly, it's there's beauty in doing that.
What Greg does with, bringing in, Disney memorabilia, I do with Target bags in the trunk of my car. I thoroughly appreciate, Greg, that you're sneaking in these like one-of-a-kind artifacts. And I'm like, maybe we'll consolidate down to 3 bags from Target today.
I think we just all became like really good friends now, which are like...
I got a couple of original paintings that Sam McKim did of Tokyo Disneyland. And Sam sold them to me at a modest price, but I framed them up. And in my living room, that's the second floor up. Bottom floor is family room. Second floor is living room, and then the top floor in our house is all the bedrooms. So on the second floor, the ceiling is vaulted. It's on an angle. So I framed these 2 original sketches of Tokyo Disneyland. And I had to have my buddy, who was our contractor who helped us remodel the inside of our house, put these paintings way up high, way up to the top of the vaulted room. My wife, she considers that her room her sanctuary. That's what she tells me. So it's like she told me many times, if I see any Disney pardon my language, any Disney shit in this room, I'm gonna have your neck. You can't do this. So she's out of the house for a while. My buddy comes over. We hang this thing up in the upper part of this room. It was up there for about 2 years before she finally realized what it was. She's looking for me. What are those 2 pictures? How long have those been there for? I said, sweetheart, those have been up there for a couple of years. You just haven't noticed. She goes, are those Disney? And I go, well, of course. And she goes, oh man, I paid the price big time. I mean, if there was ever a chance that we could have had a divorce, it would have been over those 2 pictures that still remain up there in that room because I can't get them down.
It's so many memories are coming back to me, but you're a collector. I'm a collector. I think a lot of us are. I'm not just a closet collector. I'm a collector. Like I have a garage full of boxes where I move a lot, so it's hard. Sometimes I
hope nothing gets lost in the moves. You don't lose anything, do you?
Well, sometimes, but the harder part is just the emotional part of it is like coming back to it. You set up something. This is it. You can look around and go, I know where everything is. Here, there, all my goofy stuff, my Disney stuff is here. My everything, my pop culture stuff is there. This is there. And then you move again and you have to find your way a way back to it. And I'm in a place where, I got some Disney stuff, but I'm not there yet. I don't, so that could be a whole other podcast again of like, okay, here's the question. When you're down on your luck, life's been hard, twists and turns, ups and downs, like how do you put up the pegboard and to display your stuff all over again, because it's an intimate experience.
Yeah.
I think so. I don't know about y'all, and I think Venerina. I'm gonna turn it to Venerina because she's, if that's okay, but boy, I don't know, Venerina. You collect pins, and pins are very intimate.
Yes.
So if you were a person in their, I don't know even the question. Greg, I'm going to let you ask the question
Sure.
maybe to Venerina, because maybe you have something even more insightful, or maybe Venerina, you have something more insightful for Greg. But I think moving forward, it's like this. It's collections are intimate experiences, and then how does that make you a better person, or how does that it's relational is maybe what I would say.
It's funny. One of my friends who, when you get to the level where I'm at with Disney collecting, I've got several friends that are like that. The Joel McGee's, the Louis Garcias, me, we all consider ourselves like the whales of the Disney collecting. Okay. Uh, it's kind of like, if I've talked to Joel or if I talk to Louis and say, so what have you added to your collection lately? And they'll tell me what they've done, and I'll share what I've added, and they're like, wow, and we're wowing each other. They're like, how did you get that? Or who'd you talk, who'd you kill to get that thing?
Yeah.
And that's just it. It's just, a lot of it's being at the right place at the right time, knowing the right people to how to ask your questions. Don't come off, as being like a know-it-all or anything, but at the
Of
same
course
time,
not.
too,
Yeah.
be there. Like I have evaluated more collections for people that just don't know what they have,
Right.
and they're willing to like put it out on eBay for nothing. And I'm going, no, don't do that, or don't put that in it as a lot. Spread it out and sell it piece by piece. You're going to make a lot more money that way. I try to educate people, like, if you're going to sell things of your collection, make sure that you do your research. There's so much information out there, and there's people like me that are more than willing to share our knowledge with you,
Uh-huh.
to tell you what your collectible is worth, and then sell it appropriately, and put it out in front of the eyes of the people that are really going to be like
That's
having
it.
like a food feeding frenzy over that collectible when you put it out to sell.
That's it. And I think what maybe when I say story, I think meta narrative. It's like maybe all these stories and the way and why we collect things.
Yeah.
These are what you call they invite us into a meta narrative. It's like how does a collection become a collection of what, I'm somewhat religious. I'm not a very churchy person, but I think about these things of a bigger story, and I think it was C.S. Lewis that said something like this: the echoes of a tune we've never heard, a smell of a flower we've never smelt, a call of a country that we've never visited. And I think a lot of times these stories and why we collect and why we love Disney and why we do these stories, they invite us into a bigger meta narrative. It's Disneyland the way Disneyland was always supposed to be. It's happily ever after. It's
It's a magical place.
yeah,
It's
it's all that. And I think collections are a very good reminder for us to some people think it's silly. But I say for me, like I'm storytelling. I put my action figures on the wall, but I'm telling a story. I can I don't know, doing this podcast and preserving all these stories. It's a way for, I think, for us to realize that the story is bigger than, it's a meta narrative. It's not, and these little stories and all these collections and all these little stories
What I
participate in a bigger story. I
what
don't
I
know.
have learned over the years and seeing collections and meeting collectors and meeting personality celebrities and such, when I'm looking at collections, it it's what comes to my mind is the more you know is the less you know. You think you
Mhm.
know it all, you think you've seen it all, but no, you haven't seen it all, and you
No.
clearly do not know it all. But when people come off with that attitude, they're sort of, in my opinion, more closed-minded than they
Yeah.
think they are.
Yeah.
If you're open to the fact that what you're seeing is just blowing your socks off, believe me, there's going to be something else out there that's going to be even more amazing that will blow your socks off.
Yeah. That's us. That's what we want. Greg, you're amazing. Thank you for your heart, your stories, and
Oh, can I say one other thing?
yeah, and you get to carry us out however you want.
If we got to go into the family room, I have a poster in there that I got from Ruben.
Okay, let's go.
And what had happened was Disney has a way of evaluating what attraction posters go out on the walls in their theme parks. So what they do is their designers, whether it's Bjorn Stevenson, or it's whoever's, Mark Davis, whoever's designing that attraction poster, they make a limited run of about 13 of them. And of those 13, they send it out to different departments for the department heads to do an evaluation to say, yes, thumbs up, thumbs down, don't like it, that kind of thing. And there was an attraction poster that I got that was for Phantom Manor for Euro Disneyland. And Michael Eisner took one look at it, and this is a true story. Michael Eisner took one look at it, and he says, "This is something that should be hanging in a mortuary, not in a Disney theme park."
Okay.
And
Yeah.
because of that comment, it got the thumbs down. So all 13, copies were supposed to go straight to the incinerator, because Disney used to put their stuff out in the trash, but because fanatics like me and stuff, he used to hover around the trash cans at Disney
Yeah,
Studios waiting
I remember.
wait before the trash trucks show up, so you can go through it and find something collectible. Disney got wind of that, and so they said no more. Everything gets to the incinerator. We'll burn it up first before it goes out, so some collector can get it. So anyway, these 13 posters were to go out. One of them got pulled by Walt Disney Imagineering, so they could put it in their library, so other Imagineers could use it as a means. So other Imagineers could use it as means to go and draw from for inspirations. Okay, so one went that way.
Mhm.
Another one, and I can't tell you who this person is because he'll get in a lot of trouble, but he works for Disney. He got one also. Okay. And then because Ruben was into me for a lot of money,
You don't have to say that. We're live streaming.
yeah, Ruben doesn't work for Disney anymore. But
Okay, good.
but
Okay,
Ruben
I don't have to
said,
edit.
Ruben says he says if he says you want this poster, and I said yeah, I'll take one. So I've got one of three that remain.
I
All
want
of
to see
them are
it. I
gone.
want to see it.
It is a Phantom Manor, and
Okay.
on the poster, everybody that worked on the attraction is a little caricature of their face wrapped up in the vine work that goes all the way around the poster. Okay. And because it's Phantom Manor, the Phantom himself He's got his arms like wrapped around around the house. on the
Is this like in your hallway that you can share?
No,
But
Jeff, this is going to be for the next time. We have to
Oh.
preserve some
Yeah,
magic for the
this is
next time
okay,
we spend time with
thank you for
Greg.
talking to me like an 8-year-old, because I kind of am.
This
So
is sitting on the
Next
family room
time.
wall in the next room.
thank you,
That
sir.
poster, I
Oh,
can't even
gosh.
begin to tell you how much that thing is worth, but it's
Ugh.
worth a lot of money. But that's sitting in the other room next to my Big Thunder Mountain Railroad,
Oh.
my Orbitron, and my Disneyland Railroad. And they're all
So for
guess-
all of our wonderful listeners and the inner child of Jeff right now,
Yes, thank you.
stay tuned for our next episode where we're going to take a tour of
Because
the
no,
most
because you know how I
incredible
am. I'll do it
collection
right
with
here,
Greg.
right now. I'll say, "Let's go," and
But
we
we
will
all
be
get
on
to
the podcast for like 4 hours later, and that is not fair to you all. But
So we will save some magic for our next time.
How long have
this
we
is
been-
not the
how long have
podcast
we
is
been
not
doing this
called
for? I didn't even notice.
Save the Magic. It's
Wow.
sharing the magic, Sarah.
Have
So
we been
thank
doing
you,
this for like 3
Sarah.
hours? I didn't
We
even
can't
notice.
gatekeep.
Good.
But you're not wrong.
Oh my gosh.
Sarah's not wrong.
Well, so Jeff, you want to turn it over to wrap us up for tonight?
Well,
No,
one,
hey,
one last,
hold on.
one last thing. One last thing for me. Okay.
Anyone who wants to bow out, bow out. I'll
Okay.
close this
Don't
out.
bow out. This is a good story. Okay.
But I'm gonna hang
I
out.
worked as a landscape architect for several big landscape firms, and they were all had contracts with Disney. So I got to work on a lot of projects with Disney through that association from these different landscape firms. I was never a Walt Disney Imagineering employee, even though I have. Is it that one? No, here it is. There's my Disneyland ID.
Oh, cool.
So I've got that. But the thing is that I got to work on the most amazing projects indirectly through these different companies, and one of which is hands down my favorite. And I'll share that with you guys on the next podcast.
No, wait. We can still keep going. Here's what I'll do.
What it is is that back when Disney was designing the Disney MGM Studios, okay, they had in front of the great movie attraction on Hollywood Boulevard that goes all the way down to the attraction. At the human scale is just a whole courtyard of beautiful trees and shrubs and ground cover and such, and paving patterns, and it just looks like just any other courtyard in a around a Disney attraction. Nothing special. But if you were on approach to the Orlando airport and you happen to look out your window, down like 20,000 feet below you, there is the biggest Mickey Mouse's head you'd ever see. And one side of his face to the other side of his face is 1,000 feet. One of his ears was painted on top of the sound stage, and the other ear is Echo Lake. Okay, I have the blueprints to that project.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do.
I can share that with you guys next time.
No, not you can do it right now if you want. But here's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna end the live stream if that's okay with anyone.
Okay.
But if anyone wants to stay up late and hang out, I want to. I'm always down. I'll go. Let's go. And we can do that. But let's end the live stream, and then here's what we'll do. Everything after is called bonus features. It's amazing. It's a whole other podcast. It will be we'll post it, and this is just after dark. This is just a fun time. And
Eye candy.
I can't. Yes. And Greg, I said, this is how we work. We this is about you hey, I'm in it. Let's do it. So let me close out our live stream, and then we will pick it up right back where we left it, and let's go, my friend, as little or as much as you would like, because I think this is amazing, and I'm just happy to hear your story. So here we go.
Okay.
Here's Barry's. Thank you everyone for sharing the magic. We have a thing. I'm gonna try something. This was Caitlin Robrock. This is Minnie Mouse. this is Minnie Mouse's voice, and she did something for us, and I'm gonna try to share it. And this will be a good but everyone needs to be really quiet.
Oh,
No, be
Lisa was asking me if Lisa goes to Vintage Disneyland and just types in Ziak in your search, you'll see tens of thousands of posts that I've done. I've got 19 years of posts on Vintage Disneyland.
I love that. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. And let's talk. But okay, so this is Caitlin Robrock, voice of Minnie Mouse, and she did something for us, which was really sweet. She did an outro, like thank you for sharing. Ooh, thank you. Hey, Lenny, let's hear what you have to say. And then she would say something like, "Okay, here it is. Let's see. Let's see if this works. It won't, but it goes like this. This is our outro.
Okay.
Can you hear? Wait. Yeah. Can you hear?
Sure.
Yeah. Give a thumbs up if you can hear. Oh. Okay.
Well, you have it paused at the moment, but
I know.
But I heard it.
Okay, here we go. This is Caitlin.
Thank you for joining us for another enchanting episode of Sharing the Magic. We have magical conversations that are crafted to your ears. The edutainment show where education and entertainment collide each week. We bring you whimsical interviews with Disney guests who share their magical experiences and reveal how they are woven into the Disney fabric. Don't forget to hit that follow button to stay updated on our latest episodes. Spread the word and let your friends know they can tune in wherever they enjoy their favorite podcasts. You can also connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and X, formerly Twitter, at Sharing the Magic Pod. Until next time, keep sharing the magic and rattle the stars.
That's nice.
All right. That's it. Okay. All right. We're going to hit end for live stream.